All right, welcome to the deep dive. You ever run into those tricky phrases that, like, look almost the same, sound almost the same, but they mean something completely different?
Oh, yeah, all the time. It's a classic way to trip up, especially in English.
Right. So today we're going to tackle three of them. We're diving deep into used to, get used to, and be used to.
Ooh, good ones. These are notorious for causing confusion. Even for folks who've been speaking English a while, these can be head scratchers.
No kidding. But we've got some good stuff to work with here, a really solid explanation that breaks it all down. So our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to extract that knowledge and make it crystal clear for everyone. No more used to confusion.
I like it. Mission accepted. Let's get these sorted out once and for all. Where should we start?
Let's kick things off with used to. This one's all about the past. We're talking about things we did regularly, habits, routines, stuff that was true way back when, but
hmm
not anymore.
Right, like a snapshot of your former life. You're painting a picture of how things were, a state of being or an action. But the key is, it's not true anymore.
And it wasn't just a one-time thing. It was something you did over and over again, repeatedly, like every day or every week or whatever.
Totally. Habitual is a good word for it. And it's interesting how the pronunciation can throw people off. Like, we say used to, but it often comes out sounding more like used to.
Oh, for sure. It almost blends together, even though there's that ed on the end. It can be a bit sneaky.
It can. I think that's one reason people get tripped up. They're expecting to hear that distinct ed sound, but in natural speech, it gets kind of swallowed.
Totally. Okay, so let's make this super concrete. I've got some examples from the source here, and I bet a lot of us can relate to these. Picture yourself back in high school, okay? You're lying on your bed, CD player blasting, Guns N' Roses.
Uh-huh. Classic. I can practically hear Sweet Child of Mine right now. That takes me back.
Right, and that's exactly what used to is all about. You used to listen to music that way. It was a regular thing, not streaming, not earbuds, but CDs and a good old-fashioned CD player.
And notice how those specifics, those details, make it come alive. It's not just, I used to listen to music. It's the whole scene, the feeling, the era.
Exactly. Another example, the source mentions this childhood book, Mr. Bell's Fix-It Shop. I don't know if you've heard of it, but just seeing that title, it makes it feel so real, so specific, like a little time capsule from someone's past.
It does. And maybe for you listening, it sparks a memory of your own favorite childhood book. It makes that idea of used to much more tangible.
Absolutely. And who didn't spend like every Saturday morning glued to the TV watching cartoons? Classic used to territory right there. It was a ritual.
Oh, totally. I can practically taste the sugary cereal and see the bright colors of Saturday morning cartoons.
Uh-huh, same here. Oh, and here's one that's a bit different, having red hair in high school. So this isn't an action or a routine, but a characteristic, a personal detail that was true then, but not anymore.
Nice. It shows that used to isn't just for actions. It can be for anything that was a regular part of your life in the past, but isn't now.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Thinking about those examples, what do you notice about the verbs that come after used to?
Good question. It's always used to, followed by the simplest form of the verb, like read, watch, have, listen. No fancy endings or anything.
Exactly. There's no ing or any past tense markers on those verbs, just the base form, plain and simple. Why do you think that is?
Because used to is already doing the heavy lifting of putting the action in the past. It's
Yeah.
like it's saying, hey, this happened regularly in the past, so I don't need the verb to shout about it.
Uh-huh, I get it. So the takeaway here is if you want to talk about something you did repeatedly in the past or a characteristic you had that's not true anymore, you use used to plus the basic form of the verb. Simple as that.
Exactly. It's a pretty straightforward formula.
Perfect. All right, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about used to and all that past tense action. Now let's wade into the territory of get used to. This one feels a bit different, doesn't it?
It does. Get used to is all about the process of adapting, becoming accustomed to something. It's like, initially something feels strange, unfamiliar, maybe even difficult. But over time, you adjust. You get comfortable with it.
Right. It's all about change and how we deal with it. And the thing is, this isn't just about the past. Get used to can be about things happening right now, even things you anticipate in the future.
Totally. It's that transition, that journey from feeling awkward or unfamiliar to feeling like, okay, I can handle this now.
Oh, and speaking of transitions, this example from the source is so relatable. Think about wearing a mask during the pandemic. Remember how weird it felt at the very beginning?
Oh, absolutely. It was like, is this really my life now? So strange.
Right. But then as time went on, we all we got used to it. It became the new normal.
It's such a perfect example because we all lived through that collective experience. Something that seemed so out of the ordinary gradually became part of our daily routines.
Totally. Okay, here's another one that's a little more personal. Remember how I was saying used to is about things that aren't true anymore? Well, I used to be able to sleep in late. Like 9 a.m. was an early morning for me. But now I got to drag myself out of bed at 6 a.m. for work.
Oof, I feel that. The early bird life is not for everyone.
Tell me about it. But the thing is, I've gotten used to it. It's still not my favorite thing, but my body and mind have kind of adjusted. It's my new normal.
It's a great illustration of how get used to can involve a bit of struggle, bit of a learning curve. There's that adjustment period, but eventually you adapt.
Exactly. And the source gives this example of starting a new job. You walk into a new office, you don't know anyone, you're trying to figure out where everything is, you're learning new processes. It's a lot to take in.
I can imagine. It can feel very disorienting at first.
Totally. But then, gradually, things start to fall into place. You meet people, you figure out the routines, the place starts to feel familiar, you get used to it.
It highlights how get used to applies not just to physical changes, but also social and even emotional ones. Learning to navigate a new work environment, for example.
Absolutely. And it's not just about past or present adjustments. We can also talk about future ones, like the source mentions this person whose cousin is moving from the countryside to the city. Huge change.
Huge. I bet that'll be a big adjustment.
For sure. But the expectation is that over time, she will get used to it. It might be a bit overwhelming at first, but she'll adapt.
Precisely. It's about anticipating that process of becoming familiar with a new situation. And notice, we're already using that will to talk about something that hasn't even happened yet.
Great point. Okay, now let's look at the grammar of get used to for a sec, because something's a little different here. What's the deal with the verbs that come after it?
Ah, you spotted the key. After get used to, we usually see a verb ending in ing, which we call a gerund. Or sometimes it's followed by a noun or a pronoun.
Okay, let me see if I've got this. So we had examples like getting used to wearing a mask, got used to waking up early, getting used to the new commute, that one's a noun phrase, and we'll get used to living in the city. So it seems like that ing ending is pretty common when a verb follows get used to.
You're exactly right. That ing verb is acting like a noun in this structure. It's the thing you're getting used to.
Gotcha. And just like with regular verbs, the get part can change depending on the tense, right?
Absolutely. You can say got used to for something that already happened, am getting used to for something in progress right now, or will get used to for something in the future. The key is that used to part stays consistent, and the verb after it, if there is one, gets that ing ending.
Perfect. So our formula for this one is get used to plus a verb with ing, or get used to plus a noun or a pronoun.
Spot on. You're mastering this.
All right, so we've covered used to for past habits and get used to for that process of adapting. Now the final boss, be used to. And here's where it gets a little tricky because the source says it has a similar meaning to get used to.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people get tripped up. Both phrases have to do with being familiar with something. But there's a subtle but important difference. Get used to is all about that journey, that process of becoming accustomed. Be used to is about the destination, the state of already being comfortable with something.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see the light here. Get used to is like the act of traveling, getting from point A to point B. Be used to is like arriving at point B and feeling settled there.
That's a brilliant analogy. You've got it.
So it's like get used to emphasizes the change, the adaptation, while be used to emphasizes the outcome, the fact that you've already adjusted.
Exactly. It's the difference between being in the process of getting used to something and having already reached that point of familiarity.
Okay, and looking at the examples helps make this even clearer. Like, I'm used to it, that it could be anything. It could be a routine, a sound, a type of food, whatever. But the point is, you're already comfortable with it.
Right, that it is standing in for something you've already adapted to. It's like a shorthand way of saying, this is my normal now.
Gotcha. And then we have examples like, you are used to waking up at 6 a.m. and he is used to studying at night. Again, we're seeing that ing form of the verb after used to.
Just like with get used to, when a verb follows be used to, it usually gets that ing ending. It's a pattern. And of course, the be verb can change depending on the subject and the tense. Am, is, are, was, were, you name it.
So basically, the grammar of be used to mirrors get used to. You can have it followed by a noun or pronoun or a verb with ing.
Exactly. The structure is very similar, which makes sense because the core meaning of familiarity is there in both cases.
Perfect. Okay, let's do a super quick recap just to make sure we've got all our ducks in a row. Used to is for past habits or situations that are no longer true, and it takes the base form of the verb. Get used to is about the process of becoming comfortable with something, and be used to is about the state of already being comfortable with something. Both get used to and be used to can be followed by a verb with ing or a noun or pronoun. Did I get that all right?
You nailed it. That's a perfect summary. It's all about keeping those subtle but important distinctions in mind. Past versus present, process versus state.
Right, exactly. And I think the big takeaway for anyone listening is that paying attention to these little nuances can really elevate your English. It shows a deeper understanding of the language and allows you to express yourself with more precision.
Totally. You're not just saying what you do or did, you're also conveying your relationship to it, whether it's a thing of the past, something you're actively adapting to, or something that's become second nature.
So, next time you're listening to someone speak English, or even when you're speaking yourself, try to tune into these phrases. Notice when people you used to for memories get used to when they're talking about adjusting to something new, and be used to when something feels routine or normal for them.
And maybe even take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. What new things are you currently getting used to? What habits did you used to have that you've since given up?
I love that. Because language learning isn't just about memorizing rules, it's about actively engaging with the language and noticing those patterns.
It's about becoming more aware of the subtle ways we use language to express ourselves. Like, think about the difference between saying, I used to live in a big city, and I'm used to living in a big city.
Ooh, good one.
The first one is just a statement about your past, right? But the second one tells us something about your current state of mind. It implies that you've adapted to city life, that it feels comfortable for you.
That's such a clear way to illustrate the difference. Awesome. Well, folks, that's our deep dive into the world of used to, get used to, and be used to. Hopefully, we've cleared up some of the confusion and given you the confidence to use these phrases like a pro.
And maybe it's even sparked some curiosity about how language itself is a constant process of getting used to new words, new expressions, new ways of communicating. What new linguistic adventures are you embarking on?
I love that thought. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive. See you then.